Most engines are built to last 200,000 miles, but poor habits cut them down early at 120,000. The hidden cost? Thousands in timing chains, gaskets, and failed converters. In this video, I'll reveal 17 monthly checks that cost almost nothing, yet protect your wallet and push your engine toward 500,000 miles. The strongest habit, the one mechanics never tell you, is waiting at the very end. The first habit hides in plain sight, but it's the reason some cars hit 500,000 miles. Habit number 17, measure charging voltage. Engines don't quit overnight. They fade out quietly on dirty power. An alternator that charges too low, too high, or with ripple is like high blood pressure in a person. Silent, common, and expensive when ignored. The car drives fine right up until it doesn't, and then you're staring down a 4-figure repair. Here's the simple habit. With the engine fully warm at idle, grab a cheap multimeter. Across the battery, you should see roughly 13.5 to 15 volts with the headlights and blower running. Then flip the meter to AC volts. A healthy alternator shows almost nothing, usually less than half a volt. More than that means one of the diodes is leaking and your car is living on dirty electricity. The stakes are ugly. Alternators average $700 to $1,000 installed, but a failing unit doesn't just die. It cooks batteries, fries modules, and drives ghost misfires that melt catalytic converters. One control module replacement alone runs over $1,000. Add a stranded tow and that fine driving car just wiped out a paycheck. So log it once a month. Voltage in range, ripple near zero, you're golden. Off by much? Fix it before your whole electrical system starts lying to itself. Habit number 16, clear cowl and sunroof drains. A clogged drain isn't just a little water. It's a silent electrical arsonist. Rain that can't escape creeps into fuse boxes, soaks carpet padding, and feeds corrosion that turns copper into tiny green batteries. Suddenly, the check engine light pops on for nothing. The blower fan acts haunted, trims swing rich, and your catalytic converter glows cherry red. The habit costs nothing but attention. Once a month, engine cold, grab a flashlight and check the cowl at the base of the windshield. If you see leaf mulch or mud, clear it. If your car has a sunroof, peek at the drain holes. Make sure they're open, not plugged with grit. A clear path keeps water flowing out the fenders and rockers instead of inside the cabin. Here's the pain if you ignore it. Water intrusion is notorious for frying body control modules, fuse blocks, and even engine computers. An ECM replacement alone runs around $1,000, and catalytic converters cooked by misfires can cost over $2,000. That's before drying carpets or chasing mold. Many owners only realize the risk when their carpet squishes like a sponge after a storm. By then, the damage is already growing. 10 minutes a month beats thousands in surprise bills. Keep the drains clear and you keep the electronics and the engine they protect alive for the long run. Be honest. When's the last time you actually checked those drains? Or are you one of the 90% driving around with them clogged right now? Let us know. The next one's quieter than a flood, but every hot soak pushes your engine closer to a head gasket bill. Habit number 15, check fan and radiator fins. Engines don't die in a blaze of glory. They fade from quiet heat soaks. A weak cooling fan and a radiator face carpeted with bugs won't set a warning light, but they slowly cook your engine. Every hot soak thins oil faster, hardens plastic, and brings a head gasket job closer. Here's the move. Once a month with the engine fully warm, pop the hood and listen. A healthy fan should cycle at idle with the AC on. You'll hear pitch changes as it ramps. If it never kicks on, or it only blasts at full speed, something's off. Then crouch and shine a flashlight through the grill. If you see a bug mat or leaves plastered across the fins, airflow is already cut. The cost spread is brutal. A fan motor replacement averages around $800, a full assembly near $1,000. But let the engine run hot at lights and you're looking at warped heads and a $3,000 gasket bill. Hot running also drives the ECU to enrich fuel. cooking catalytic converters worth $2,000. This isn't paranoia, it's physics. Airflow at speed hides a weak fan. City traffic doesn't. Keep the fan honest and the radiator breathing, and your oil, head gasket, and AC all live longer. Habit number 14. Sniff your dipstick. This is the cheapest insurance against $1,000 carnage. Use your nose. If your oil smells like gasoline, you're not just smelling fuel. You're smelling bearings losing their cushion and chains stretching early. Fuel in the oil thins viscosity, lowers flash point, and turns protective film into soup. Do this once a month with the engine cold. Pull the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert, and sniff. Oil should smell like oil. If it reeks of gas, log it. That odor means raw fuel is sliding past the rings on cold starts and short trips, pooling in the sump where it has no business being. Direct injection engines, which most 2005 to 2021 cars use, are notorious for this. They spray straight into the cylinder, and under cold or short-hop driving, unburned fuel sneaks down the walls. Your dash won't flash a warning. The oil life monitor won't save you. By the time the chain rattles or the cat fails, it's late and expensive. A simple sniff catches it early. Maybe the thermostat is running cool, maybe an injector is dripping. Either way, you just bought yourself time to fix a $50 part instead of funding a $2,000 catalytic converter. Thin oil kills quiet. Your nose tells the truth first. Before we move on, hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest monthly habit you'll ever do for free, and way cheaper than a catalytic converter or timing chain. Habit number 13, track warm-up time. If your engine takes forever to warm up, that's not being gentle. That's your bearings soaking in fuel and water every single drive. Engines that run too cool don't just waste gas. They poison their own oil and leave the catalyst asleep long after it should be working. Here's the once-a-month check. Start the car cold and watch the gauge. Within a few minutes, most engines should climb steadily to their normal mark, roughly 195 degrees Fahrenheit. If it drifts low, never quite gets there, or takes twice as long as it used to, that's a lazy thermostat waving the white flag. A stuck-open stat quietly wrecks efficiency and loads the oil with raw gasoline. The ECU stays in warm-up mode, dumping extra fuel that slips past the rings. Over time, that thins the oil, raises wear, and gums up timing parts. Add the emissions hit. A cold catalyst can't clean exhaust until it's hot, and that delay means raw fuel and carbon piling into a $2,000 converter. This is the classic budget booby trap. A thermostat and housing may sting at a few $100, but left alone, the fallout climbs into the thousands. Timing chains, even head gaskets. 10 seconds of warm-up awareness once a month flips that math in your favor. Who's right? Drivers who let their car idle forever to warm it up, or the ones who say just drive off and it's fine? Let's blow up the comments with this one. Habit number 12. Inspect radiator cap. Engines don't usually die from bad pistons. They die from heat. And the cheapest part protecting yours is a radiator cap most people never notice. When it fails, hoses collapse, coolant boils, and the repair bill suddenly makes you wish you'd spent $10 sooner. Once a month, check the cap seal for cracks or crust and glance at the hoses after cool down. If one looks like it lost a fight with a shop vac, the vacuum valve in the cap isn't pulling coolant back from the reservoir. That means your pump is trying to drink through a straw. Here's why it matters. A healthy cap holds around 15 pounds of pressure, raising coolant's boiling point by 40+ degrees Fahrenheit. That margin keeps liquid against hot metal instead of flashing to steam. Lose the margin, and you don't just overheat. You cook gaskets and warp heads. Collapsed hoses starve the pump, pockets of steam form, and thin oil films surrender at bearings and cam lobes. The car still drives fine until one day it doesn't, and now you're buying a head gasket, or worse, an engine. The fix is almost insulting in its simplicity. Swap a tired cap and keep hoses supple. 10 seconds of attention each month saves thousands and keeps the cooling system doing its silent, essential job. Habit number 11, check splash shields. That floppy plastic under your engine isn't for looks, it's armor. Lose it, and every puddle turns into a pressure washer blasting your alternator, belts, and wiring. The car still drives fine, but the clock starts ticking toward four-figure repairs. Once a month, crouch down with a flashlight. Make sure the belly pan and wheel arch liners are intact, clipped, and not hanging like a scoop. If they're torn or missing, road spray and gravel are already aiming straight at your pulleys and connectors. Here's the math. Water plus grit equals slip. Slip equals undercharging. Undercharging cooks alternators and batteries. Add salt or sand, and you've got abrasion-chewing belt ribs and bearings. A belt that looks fine dry can glaze or squeal wet, and one day shred itself into the crank pulley. It's not just belts. Puddles spray mist into coil boots and plug wells, causing random misfires that show up as check engine lights in the rain. Junction boxes and harnesses corrode faster too, leaving you with electrical ghosts that cost hours of shop time to diagnose. The fix isn't glamorous. Replace a clip, patch a liner, or bolt on a shield before the next storm. 10 minutes here saves you from spending $1,000 on alternators and chasing misfires that never seem to quit. Road spray is obvious. The next leak is invisible, and that makes it even more expensive if you ignore it. Habit number 10, inspect EVAP hoses. Engines don't usually fail in a blaze of glory. They die from small leaks and lazy eyes. The ones most owners miss are the EVAP hoses under the car and the seal on the gas cap. Ignore them, and you're basically letting your engine breathe through a crack. Once a month, pop the fuel cap and check the rubber ring. It should be soft, round, and free of splits. Then glance at the small hoses around the charcoal canister and purge valve. Cold engine only. If you see cracks, swelling, or dust caked at a fitting, that's your red flag. Why it matters? Because a split hose or bad cap lets unmetered air sneak past the sensors. The computer adds fuel to chase it, trims climb, and combustion runs hotter in the wrong spots. That heat chews on your catalytic converter, which is a $2,000 part most cars can't live without. The codes don't lie. P0442 is a small leak. P0457 screams loose cap. P0446 points to a clogged vent path, usually dust. They all add up to the same truth. Your car is leaking vapor, running off its calibration, and slowly cooking itself. 10 minutes a month here saves you four-figure repairs later. Keep the hoses tight, keep the cap sealing, and your engine stays clean, cool, and boring in the best way possible. Habit number 9, check for brake drag. Engines don't quit from drama, they quit from load and heat. Nothing adds both faster than a dragging brake. One sticky caliper, and your car is basically towing a trailer you never see. The engine works harder, the bearings cook, and the fuel bill climbs. Here's the 10-second test. After a short, easy drive, no highway blasts, step out and hover your hand near each wheel. 3 should feel warm, maybe like a mug of coffee. If 1 feels like a frying pan, that's drag. Cold engine, short loop, fair comparison. Write it down if one corner keeps standing out. What's happening is simple. The pad isn't letting go. Could be a corroded slide pin, a collapsed hose acting like a one-way valve, or a piston seal that stopped retracting. Doesn't matter which. The rotor's being sanded every mile, and the engine has to push through it. The damage piles up fast. Extra heat cooks wheel bearings, blisters pads, and makes rotors uneven. The load on the crankshaft and transmission means more fuel enrichment, more soot in the oil, and shorter life for rings and timing components. A free heat check once a month versus an $800 caliper and a $500 bearing? That's a no-brainer. Catch drag early, and your engine keeps living easy. Heat from brakes is obvious. The next threat slips in silent and steals power without a sound. Habit number 8. Inspect vacuum hoses. Engines don't usually die from a single blow. They die from little air leaks that go ignored. A cracked or soft vacuum hose sneaks air in behind the sensors, forcing the computer to chase its tail. The engine runs leaner, hotter, and dirtier, and the bill shows up months later as a fried converter or a tired bottom end. Here's the habit. With the engine cold, Squeeze and flex every visible rubber hose around the intake and PCV system. Good hose feels springy, bad hose feels mushy, cracks when bent, or collapses under light pressure. Log any soft spots or splits. If a hose folds flat between your fingers, it's already lying to the engine. What happens next is predictable. Extra air at idle drives, fuel trims up, combustion temps climb, and catalysts work overtime until their brick overheats. Lean spikes encourage detonation, which hammers pistons and bearings. Collapsed PCV hoses push oil past seals, and when the O2 sensors finally hit their limit, you get codes for system too lean that really mean you missed the cheap fix. Most owners shrug because the car still runs, but vacuum leaks are invisible thieves. A $2 section of hose can prevent a $2,000 converter. 10 minutes once a month keeps the air-fuel math honest and your engine alive decades longer. Habit number 7, check heat shields. Here's the part nobody looks at until it's too late. A missing exhaust heat shield or cooked oxygen sensor wire can quietly turn your engine into a liar. The cat runs hotter, the computer gets false data, and you're left with misfires, rich fueling, and a converter glowing like a furnace under your floor. Your job is simple. Once a month, with the car cold, crouch down and scan the exhaust path. Shields should still be bolted on, not dangling or gone. Wires should be clipped away from bare pipe, not sagging close enough to toast. 10 seconds of looking beats $2,000 in converter bills. Think about the numbers. Oxygen sensor wiring is only rated for around 250 degrees Fahrenheit. A converter on a normal drive can run 700, and under load it can hit 1,200. That mismatch cooks insulation fast. Melted wires feed the computer nonsense, and nonsense means the engine fuels wrong until something expensive dies. Catch it early, and the story is boring. Nothing overheats, no codes, no scorched carpet. Ignore it, and you'll smell burnt plastic before the dash even blinks. Boring is the goal. Keep the shields. Shields protect the hardware, but the next habit taps into the car's own secrets before they go public. Habit number 6, scan for codes. Your car already knows when something's wrong. It just doesn't light up the dash until the problem repeats. That's how people drive perfectly fine all week, then end up with a cooked catalytic converter by Monday. A 5-minute scan flips the script. Here's what to do. With the engine cold, plug in your scanner and scroll past the no codes screen. Look at pending codes, the ones hiding before the light admits anything. That's your early warning system. The first clues are ugly but silent. Random misfire, P0300, that can melt a cat in one highway pull. Lean code P0171, that means the engine's running hot. P0128, thermostat trouble, that breeds sludge in cold oil. Even a tiny P0442 EVAP leak can sneak dirt in past seals. Ignore those hints, and you're buying $2,000 parts for a problem that costs nothing to find. Check it monthly, log what you see, and you'll spot trouble before it empties your wallet. Habit number 5, check belts and hoses. Engines don't explode in Hollywood fashion. They quietly bleed out. One cracked hose can dump every drop of coolant in seconds, or a slipping serpentine belt can starve the alternator and water pump without a sound. The tow is cheap, the warped head and cooked bearings are not. Here's what to do. Once a month, with the engine cold, pop the hood and feel the hoses near their ends. They should be firm, but not mushy. Press gently. If they're soft or bulging, that's failure brewing. Look at the belt face. Modern EPDM belts don't crack. They wear smooth and glossy. Shiny ribs mean it's slipping, even if it looks fine. Hoses fail from the inside out. Electrochemical degradation attacks the ends first, leaving weak spots you won't see until they burst. Belts fail by losing grip, not by splitting wide open. A glazed belt slips quietly, reducing water pump flow and alternator output right when heat is highest, idling in traffic with the AC blasting. Catch those early tells, and you've dodged a $4,000 head gasket job with a flashlight and 60 seconds. That's the cheapest insurance your engine will ever get. Catching cracks is one thing. The next step is catching the coolant level before it silently writes off your engine. Habit number 4, check coolant reservoir. Overheating is how good engines die fast. One plastic bottle and a cap decide whether your motor stays healthy or warps itself into a $4,000 mistake. Ignore it, and the first sign you'll notice is steam and a dead engine that ran hot once and never recovered. Here's the move. Once a month, with the engine cold, pop the hood and glance at the reservoir. The coolant should sit between the low and full marks. The level should be stable from month to month. If it keeps dropping, you've got a leak or a cap that's not holding pressure. Pressure is everything. A good cap raises the boiling point by about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Lose that seal, and perfectly normal stop-and-go heat can boil coolant into steam pockets. Steam cools nothing, and aluminum heads warp quickly when they run dry. Look close for crusty streaks on the bottle, oily sheen in the fluid, or chocolate milk sludge under the cap. Those are early clues of bigger failures. The cost split is brutal. A $30 cap now, or a $3,000 head gasket later. We're in the final 3 now. Before the big reveal at the end, let's talk about the simple habit that decides whether your engine lives or dies every time you start it. Habit number 3, check oil level. Engines don't run on hope, they run on oil. Let that film get low, and you're gambling with every spin of the crankshaft. A monthly dipstick check is 2 minutes of effort that saves you from timing chain bills in the thousands. Or worse, shopping for a replacement engine. Do it cold, on level ground. Pull the dipstick, wipe it, dip again. The oil should sit between the marks. Too low means air pockets and pressure drops. Too high means foaming. Both are bad. Look at the color too. Milky streaks hint at water, raw gasoline smell means dilution, and glitter means metal. Here's why it matters. That thin oil wedge is the only thing keeping bearings and chains alive at 3,000 revolutions per minute. Starve it, and tensioners slack, chains rattle, and valves meet pistons. Even half a quart down raises risk on hills and hard corners. The cost gap is brutal. A quart of oil is pocket change. A timing chain job averages $2,000. An engine replacement can top $9,000. 2 minutes a month keeps that money in your wallet. Habit number 2, listen for noises. Engines don't quit silently. They warn you with soundtracks. A faint rattle, chirp, or grind is often the first sign something expensive is about to fail. Ignore it, and you're not saving peace of mind. You're buying a tow bill and a 4-figure repair. Here's the trick. Once a month, shut off the radio, roll down the windows, and actually listen. Do it cold and warm. A brief rattle at startup can mean timing chains, or tensioners are struggling to hold oil pressure. A deeper knock that speeds with throttle is no joke. That's bearings on borrowed time. Not all noises are doom, but the dangerous ones are easy to spot. A squeal from the belt drive, a whine from the alternator, a grinding water pump, their parts asking for retirement before they seize. Exhaust leaks tick when cold. Converters rattle when crumbling, and both can torch fuel trims or cost $2,000. This habit is free, fast, and brutally effective. 1 minute of listening a month can save you from engine swaps, seized pumps, and surprise breakdowns. If your car starts singing a new song, pay attention before it plays its last note. Habit number 1, drive it hard. Engines don't like being babied forever. Treat a car to nothing but short, easy trips, and you're feeding it water, fuel, and acids that collect in the oil. That silent buildup turns smooth metal into sludge, varnish, and wear that can empty your wallet faster than Redline ever could. Here's the cure. Once a month, give the engine a real workout. Warm it fully, then use steady throttle, higher RPM, and a stretch of open road to hold heat. The oil needs to hit about 200 degrees Fahrenheit and stay there long enough to boil off the junk that short trips leave behind. This habit also exercises the parts you can't see: timing phasers, wastegates, EGR valves, keeping them from sticking. Even the catalytic converter lives longer when it's lit hot and steady, instead of half asleep in traffic. Think of it as a gym session for the engine. Short effort, long payoff. Neglect it, and you're signing up for sludge, misfires, and repair bills with commas. 17 habits that can double your engine's life. Simple and powerful. But many drivers still ruin theirs the moment they turn the key. Watch stop starting your car. This way, before it's too late.